All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the CompanyCam Housecall Pro crossover webinar. It's been a bit since CompanyCam has done one of these, so thanks everyone for attending. Really the only housekeeping item I have is that if you guys do have to drop out at some point throughout the webinar, we will be recording this and we'll share that out as an email link to you. So no harm, no foul if you get a call and need to jump off. So what we're going to run through today is just some of the things that I think CompanyCam and Housecall Pro have really good synergistic synergy around, which is what a software stack can do to improve communications throughout your company, how integrating your software stacks can increase efficiency, from the first time you visit a job site all the way to the invoicing, and how when you actually have that communication and efficiency tool like streamlined across your company, it just inevitably is going to lead to higher conversion rate, more sales and more opportunities to get in front of customers. So the agenda is basically just to run through who each of us are, me, Roland, who I'm sure some of you guys know, and then Josh with Shamrock Overhead. Josh has got a really cool story, so we'll probably just let him vamp for a little bit about what his life's been like. And then we'll kind of just dig into what CompanyCam and Housecall Pro do, kind of how they work together. And then you guys can pepper us with as many questions as you want. So I'll start things off because I'm by far the lightest in terms of bio between the three of us. I've been with CompanyCam for just about 2 years now. I started off on the inside sales and onboarding team, and then moved over to the integrations partnership development team. Prior to working at CompanyCam, I was in commercial property and casualty insurance, which is kind of how I found CompanyCam, which works in multi industries, but one of the big ones is around proof of work photos for insurance adjusters, that sort of thing. So that's about it for me. I'll let Roland go from here.
Hey guys, my name is Roland. I'm one of the co-founders of Housecall Pro. It says SVP, probably don't know what that means. I work on the innovation team, and on the innovation team, we do all the fun new stuff. We also interact with the community a lot. We do a bunch of integrations and try to find new partners and all kinds of cool stuff. But been with the company since the start and know God, who knows how many pros. But obviously we found a really good partnership with CompanyCam. A lot of our pros get a lot of value in taking pictures, but not just pictures with annotations, organization, and all kinds of fun stuff. So we're going to talk about some of those things today. I'm going to ask Josh some hard questions. If you stick around, you get to see some of these hard questions. I know Josh is kind of sweating. He's like, oh man, I'm getting put on the spot. What did I agree to go do with these guys? But it's going to be a fun time. And like I said, if you guys have any questions as we're doing this, go ahead and hit up the chat on the bottom part of the screen and go ahead and direct it to everyone or to us as hosts and panelists. So we'll answer it while we're doing the live here. All right, Josh.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Mike. My name is Josh Smith. I am the founder and CEO of Shamrock Overhead Door. Shamrock was founded, in 2010. Shortly after some time. Well, if I go back a little bit here, it's been a little while since I gave an elevator pitch. So anyhow, the company started 2010. Prior to that, I had been in the garage door service trade since 1998, 99. Family kind of fell in some hard times. So, just jump right into garage doors. Actually, I didn't even know what the term overhead door was until I think it was my third day on the job. Overhead door just didn't make any sense, What's an overhead door? Well, it's garage door. It's a fancy term for it. So anyhow, spent some time doing that most of my life. And then finally by 2006, I decided it was time to go off and serve. So I left the area here. I'm originally from Weymouth, Massachusetts. Now we're based in Walpole, Massachusetts. Anyhow, I had enlisted, spent some time. I was anybody who's in the Army knows 11 Bravo. That's infantry was my MOS. And when I got back from, let's see, I deployed in 2008. And when I came back from Afghanistan, the job that I had lined up at the time with one of the biggest overhead door companies in Boston, well, they had shut down. And there was no word, there was no warning, nothing. That was all due to the economic crash of 2008. So, you know, when I came home, my wife, God love her, she had just given birth to our firstborn son, and from there, we were kind of winging it, and we were relying on what we could just to get by. Job searching it just seemed like it was never going to end. You know, I found myself working at a Blockbuster, making $7.50 an hour. And, you know, they wouldn't even give me full-time hours because I was overqualified, if you can believe that. So that's when by 2010, I was at a breaking point. I had decided to go back to school. Just liberal arts was what I was excited. I had no direction. There was no work in the overhead door trade. Didn't know what was going to come in next. Right. So times were absolutely terrifying. So I had, from there, I just kind of went off, and I found myself sitting on a boat in Boston Harbor one day reading the book, The Secret. Have you guys ever heard of The Secret by Rhonda Byrne?
Yep.
That's amazing book. Amazing book. That book actually helped catapult it all. So as I was reading this book, it just came to me, you know what? Nobody's going to hire me. You know, I have no team around me now. I'm on my own. You know, I know garage doors. I know how to do doors very well. So at that point, Shamrock Overhead Door, as I'm looking into Boston, thinking, you know, my Irish heritage and the luck of the Irish was starting to kind of come into play there. I'm thinking, you know, man, if no one's going to hire me, I'm going to hire myself. So the next day I went down to the town hall, and I inquired about a business license, and I said it was going to be $40, and I think we had $46 left in the bank. So I took it. My wife darn near killed me. So I went ahead and made our first investment at the age of 20. Was I 23 then? I think it was. But anyway, so yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for that one. So I got the business license, and I remember going back out into the town hall parking lot, sitting in my God, I had like a 1992 Toyota Rust model. Was breaking down every 5 minutes. I mean, it was this piece of crap Toyota stick. I mean, I couldn't stand driving on the stick. Oh, it's awful, right? So I sat there. I said, okay. They said if I can visualize it, if I can ask for it. And at the time, I was doing a lot of praying too, because I'm in desperation. You know, the income is gone. Forgot to mention in there that Blockbuster had to file for bankruptcy, so they also closed. Don't forget that. So we were really in dire straits, right? So I remember sitting in the parking lot. I said, "Damn, I don't have any business cards, and I don't even know where to get business cards, right?" So I was looking around. I open up the middle console there, and I find some white line paper. And I break that out, and I just write all over it. Shamrock Overhead Door, put down my phone number, put down whatever it was I put down, service, sales, and installations, right? And within 24 hours, I sold my first pair of doors, right? And from that moment on, it's been you know, it's like a seed was literally planted. you know, it's this little tiny thing, you know, little old me. And now we're not the biggest in the world, but, you know, we have three trucks in now. We're trying to get our fourth truck, and it has been 10 years, but we took a break in 2016. I took a long break in 2016. I went off to learn more about gate operators, you know, but the last couple of years, we've been taking our growth a bit more serious. Actually, ever since we got involved with Housecall Pro, we've been taking our growth a lot more seriously, and made a lot of changes, and it feels like we're on a racetrack now, and we're just unstoppable. At least in our
Josh, tell us more about your company right now, the structure, trucks, like how big you guys are growing. Maybe paint that picture for those of us that are watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we have three trucks. There's four of us running the company right now. Unfortunately, we had to cut loose the CSR that we were using. It wasn't anything bad. It was just because we're all about this year making it about systems and processes, right? So we did have a CSR for a while that was offsite, handling all our inbound and outbound. But now we actually pulled one of the techs that we were training for the last couple of years. He now takes the calls and he goes out to the field. We have a full-time service and full-time installation, and then it just kind of gets mixed up, and I'm just right now playing the board.
So what time were you like, okay, this is the light bulb moment. This is when I need to start using software to, improve my business, to make it more efficient, et cetera. Like at what point were you like, okay, this is the time, now we're going to invest in this and we're going to take the time to understand what we want to go accomplish?
When my wife reminded me I took the last $40 out of our account. It was really, okay. One of the main reasons is, I'll tell you, I'll never be in that position again. My family will never be in that position again. All right. When back in 2010, our son was 2 years old, and we just found out, hey, now we have a daughter along the way. Right. And so really, to never be in that position again is what motivated me. And when I see the change in the technology about 2 years ago, it was like, all right, we have to now get our game face on. No more of this, one man, because in Boston, it's all, 1-2 man shows. And if it's not that, it's a
huge company, like a franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Franchise. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. But it's, just really never want to be in that position again. So
you said you found Housecall about like 2 or 3 years ago. Is that about right?
No, Housecall, it's been almost 4 years rolling, right?
Mm-hmm. Almost 4. Okay.
It's about 4 years.
What was your process like beforehand? Were you running solo at that point, or had you started to staff up, or what was, what did that look like for you?
So it was literally 1-2 man in a truck, running jobs. The process before Housecall Pro, we were using Invoice ASAP. That was only for about a year prior to. Before that, we were literally using pen and paper. So it's
in the desert.
In the what?
I said in the desert is what I call it when you're running pen and paper. Yeah. Yeah. It was,
and you had, of course, you had QuickBooks, but it was like QuickBooks kind of ties you into other things too that you don't really want to be in. And let's put it this way: I did not come from any type of tech background. Hell, I got my first email because the Army said I had to have an email in 2006, right? So, but I've had to learn all these things as I went along. but ever since we joined up with Housecall, it's been fascinating to learn as much as we've learned. And then of course now enter CompanyCam and all the other cool things that come along with Housecall.
So how'd you hear about CompanyCam and what was it that you saw that you're like, yep, I got to use this too? Because you can take pictures inside a Housecall Pro, and I get asked a lot, well, why would I do that? You guys already have that, but CompanyCam's on a whole nother level. So like what caused you to go, okay, A, now I heard about it. So where'd you hear about it? And then B, tell us a little bit about why you're like, yes, I need this in my business.
So very good question. I actually brought these along here. There is still a little bit of pen and papermanship here, but we actually do our own designs and everything. So these here are checklists, right? Every job we go out onto, we require a checklist, safety inspection report, right? So you got your fail red, your okay yellow, pass green. And one of the things that we needed to figure out is, okay, how can we get this attached to our client's profile? Because at the end of the day, when we're running a service call and we're looking at a door and we know that it's on its last leg, but of course the client doesn't really want to hear that. We also need to protect ourselves at the same time. We need these inspections, right? And also the client is going to respect what you inspect, right? So to get that to tie into Housecall Pro, once I saw CompanyCam come along, which was through the, I believe it was through the beta test. Is it the beta test option?
Yeah.
On the apps.
And the App Store, yep. So inside of the Housecall Pro App Store, if you guys happen to use Housecall Pro already and you want to just do it real quick, if you go into the Housecall Pro App Store, you can go there, click through, and you get the special deal. But yeah, that's. I'm glad you heard about it that way.
Yep. That's why. Well, always looking at the. I totally recommend to all these guys out there, always be looking at that App Store, because you'll never know what's going to pop up that you can implement into your process. For us, this has been dynamite. If it wasn't, then, obviously I wouldn't be here. But, with this inspection report, this is just one little thing that we're able to do. We go through, because the client, what we've come to find is that the client, the more information you can provide in a nutshell, and the more physical you can make it, the more likely you're going to A, earn the trust of your client, and B, close the deal right then and there. So what we've been seeing is, these guys, they go through, they run their report, they get hands-on, show exactly what's going on with each part of the door, whether it be the roller, the top fixture, lift cable, whatever it is. They go through. And now here's the other cool part that I absolutely love about this. Okay. And I'll give you an example afterwards. So you can take images of those deficient parts, right?
Yep. While you're at the customer's home or doing the inspection, you're going through, or you're having your technicians go and taking pictures of all the different things they're seeing.
Yes, absolutely. So they're going through, they're doing their inspections. They're taking a picture of the parts. They're also taking an image of the door, grabbing images of the model numbers, if there's any on there, serial numbers, because, we can go back later on and it will tell us, we can put a whole story together without even being there. So the other really cool thing about it is when we get all that information, when we take that picture, we can notate on the picture. We can draw. You can
put like little arrows or little circles, or you can put some text on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can even timestamp it.
That's awesome. And you can put your logo on stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And kind of to your point though, Josh, is, you're talking about the two prongs, a thing that you're getting out of like heavy photo documentation, good, clean documentation, right? On the one hand, you're capturing all of that, internally for yourself for liability protection, right? To limit customer disputes and second roles, right? Callbacks to your customer. But the other thing that that's doing, right, which I think I've talked with you a little bit about, is that's also like one of the most powerful selling tools that you can actually use with your customer, right? Like the days are gone where you can just present your customer with essentially an auto body checklist of like, these are the 5 things we need to do. Like they don't understand, right? It's a lot more powerful if, when you jump out of the attic or the basement, wherever, your systems might be, out of the garage, you can present their customer, the actual state of their systems, right? And not only are you protecting yourself upfront with the customer, being like, we need to repair or replace these things, but, you're empowering them to make really good decisions, informed decisions, right? That not only get, stuff sold that first time, but I think, in the long term, you win that repeat business, right? That customer is like, even if they decline something, they're not going elsewhere the next time through if you're giving them that level of transparency to what their actual, condition of their units is, right?
Right, exactly. And with this stack that I have right here, this is still the paper version, but it's in Housecall Pro through CompanyCam. What we can do is we have the tags in place that I know if, Mrs. Jones and, Mr. Stevens, both of them didn't want to replace their operators while we were out there because it just wasn't for them right now, but it's in the back of our minds. And we know as the professionals that, geez, my God, they're running that system. And we know, and look, and if it's something, we even have on here, we have a disclaimer on what we use. We have a disclaimer at the bottom that clearly states that, look, we've recommended, and we always love to give options. Okay. And again, CompanyCam, Housecall Pro, both tie into that for us. You couldn't do that with pen and paper. Okay. You could never do that with pen and paper in the past. Well, even now, like you can't do it. So what we do is we create the tag. Okay. Chain drive operator should be replaced, or needs replacing chain drive operator, or tag out the part, pulley system, whatever it may be, right? And when I know that we have something coming up that we can offer them, we can pull out those tags, we can see the images, and then we can say, all right, well, we'll, we can send, Mr. Stevens, Ms. Jones, a coupon for that specific thing that we have coming up, because they need it.
That's a good idea. Yeah, because you identified it. It's on their file. You can check the history. You can log in, take a look at the pictures. What about sharing it with the customers? What do they say? Like when you send them the pictures, you share the link. Like tell us like the expression and the way that they feel.
So there's a lot of different aspects through that part as well. There's so you have your service end. You also have your installation part of it. For instance, we had a job yesterday that our guys, I mean, they opened up so many cans of worms on that job. It was awful. They took the doors out, but then the client wanted to replace the trim around the frame. Well, one of our guys pulled the trim out and it was rotting, unbelievably rotting. And once again, CompanyCam that can back us up. But the guy was a gentleman about it. We talked to it, we worked it out with him. And what that allowed us to do is create a phenomenal before and after, because the job's done now, right? We ended up having to stay an extra day on site and to get it done. But we can now create a before and after image in CompanyCam and then build a report to then send back to the client for all his or her information or for their records. So the before and after is huge.
That's cool. Yeah. And I feel like that's also good in the future to market for potentially new clients, to the extent that your homeowner's like, yeah, totally. It's cool if you share that. But I think oftentimes, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and so if you can show that to people, they can say, oh, that's kind of like my garage, and it could look like that. I didn't know. Like, oh, that's neat. So it seems like you use it more for just that one customer. You can also use it as an acquisition tool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We even found a way to take that portion of CompanyCam, and what happens is if a technician's in the field and Mr. Jones decides, well, Mrs. Jones, I don't want to fix the door. We're gonna have to just replace it. It's gonna cost so much to fix it. Just why not replace it, right? Well, that allows a technician to upload the image of the door, okay? And the technician can then send a direct message in the system right out to, if I'm here in the rear with the gear, right? He can send it out. I'll pick up on it and say, okay, I'll whip together a quote from here. So what I'll do through CompanyCam is take that image, and then I can mask out a garage door onto it. Let's just say, I mean, I have to pull it from CompanyCam first, right? But I can mask out what a new door will look like on their home, load it into CompanyCam, take my quote from Housecall Pro, download it, put it together, send it out. The technician now has it on his, because we have iPads in our trucks, right? So he can just flip it around and show the client, hey, this is what your new door will look like on your home, and here's your quote. And it's boom. We've got so much conversion off that alone.
We've been talking a lot about CompanyCam here, but CompanyCam is basically just like one part of, a small component of your actual day-to-day, right? I think the larger thing that's actually making you money in the long term and keeping you on track, right, is going to be Housecall. So, I'm not sure who the uninitiated are on our call, but there's quite a few CRMs out there, but Housecall Pro tends to be the one, especially just based on your community, that people are absolutely addicted to. So like, give me like just a high level, like 3 things that changed your way of doing your business, once you found Housecall Pro. It's a nebulous question, so just take it from the top. Well, we got another half an hour or stuff.
Oh, all right, excellent. My wife has been training me to talk less for the past year or two. So
10 years, 11 years, 12 years. Oh wait, yeah, last year, sure.
13 years. I think we're in 13 years. Geez, I think it will be 14 years in November. Yeah, geez, time flies. Somebody sent me a video today, potential coach that I'm looking at. Through the network, through the Housecall Pro network. Big thing with Housecall Pro and us is the networking. That's also been huge. Outside of the systems and processes, right? But anyway, she sent a video about time, like how as we get older, and as we start to become busy in our day-to-day, but especially if you're in business, the time it's like a spark out of a fire. It's there 1 second, it's beautiful, and then where the hell did it go, right? And I mean, I'm only 36 years old. What do I know, right? But anyways, time flies. So I'm good. I'm glad we're tracking with that. But Housecall Pro, man, I got to tell you, I was looking at a competitor. I'm not sure if I can say who it is or not, but like I said, it's my first time going on.
Oh, you can use initials if you want. Then people kind of get an idea.
Baltimore.
Sierra Tango.
There you go. Yeah.
So, so I was looking at them, and it was, I mean, for the cost of it, I wasn't able to see the value for the cost of it. And now, if I believe in something that's gonna, it's gonna really do us well, and okay, that investment is there, but then on the other hand, it's like, well, wait a minute. As I did a little bit of research, found Housecall Pro, and who was it that called me? The first person that called me was Janelle. Was it?
No,
it wasn't. No, it was Jeez, what's his name? He
Max?
no, Justin. Is it Justin?
Justin? Could be Justin. Yep.
It was Justin called, and we had a little talk, a few years back, and he gave me the price range of the system, because I thought, hey, here's another $300 a technician or whatever, which wasn't, again, at the time we were a 1-2-man team, but you're seeing what I thought at the time was our competition, who we're already up against or competitive with the bigger guys, fighting for the scraps. It was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, this seems reasonable. And then when I got involved, at first I thought it was going to be really complicated, right? But no, it was actually really easy to navigate through the Housecall Pro system. And then the support has been absolutely dynamite. I mean, there's a guy right now I'm thinking of. I belong to a group, garage door company group, made up of some of the better of the small businesses throughout the U.S. Right?
Yep.
And amazing group, absolutely amazing group. And there's one guy right now. He's such a nice guy. You can just tell right on the surface that he's true to the core. And it's so funny because he's exactly where I was a few years ago, using the same exact system, the Invoice ASAP, right? Have you guys heard of Invoice ASAP?
Invoice ASAP, Invoice to Go, Joyce. They're apps you can just download, on the App Store. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Of the world. Yeah.
Right. It's just an app, right? For the one-man guy, it was great for a little while, but again, that's where he's at. And he's trying to run a company about our size. And excuse me, a couple of us in the group are like, hey, you should really give Housecall Pro a try. And he's kind of on the fence about it, but I think that once he sees that our process, because we don't have the time, this is going to be the perfect opportunity to take this to him and say, hey, look, check it out. This is just one of the many features that Housecall's partnered with. Oh, and your partnerships, let me tell you, that's a huge deal for us in the field. Like picking those right partnerships and incorporating them together. I can't even tell you like that. Oh my God. Like that CompanyCam was the perfect thing we needed, especially when it comes to this process. It's not just this, it's the estimating too. Remember, the estimating is really important. Pictures can do more of a justice than, words on a sheet or someone on a phone or an email or, it's just, but no, Housecall Pro.
When you were so like you were in the process, you were talking to your group, about, checking out Housecall Pro. Was there like in that initial, discovery of Housecall Pro, was there like a real like, oh shit moment for you? Or was it just, you started using it, the whole onboarding process was clean and it just made more sense? Like, what was it that caught your eye about it and made you keep it?
So the oh shit moment came when I realized that, see, again, Boston is it's a funny place for the small business, okay? Especially in the door industry. This place is saturated with garage door companies. Hell, I'm looking out at the backwoods right now, and I know, and I'm not even kidding when I say that there's a garage door company in that set of woods right there. But it's a BS little ghost company that, how they're set up under, ABC garage doors, but they're really not. They're just linked to one bigger company, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we were starting to see those guys infiltrate the area, and I didn't know if they had these systems of process in place. So I was like, wait a minute, I see that we're going a new direction with the home service business. So we got to do something, because these little apps, they're just not going to cut it. Like, we need to be able to be better than everybody or what other people are doing here in this area. Like we've got to deliver something better for the experience of the client. So it was really these little ghost companies that are popping up, or we call them in our industry bad Bobs. I don't know. Have you guys heard of that term before?
Yeah, it's like they have ghost restaurants now too, you know, and so they don't really have that storefront or anything that's kind of pop up. But yeah, I feel like what you're saying is a valid point, because you always want to be one step in front of everybody else. And that's kind of the core of it. Obviously, you want to better your business, but you need to stay out there and keep looking for new and better technology that can create that customer experience that sets you apart so that you can charge the price that you deserve. And if you don't do that, then you're competing, you know, left with all these other ones that are kind of able to underbid and those things. And, you know, you're not kind of getting the profitable jobs that you really want to be doing.
Right. And that's what at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is the experience that the client is going to have. And when, like, for instance, when I found out, I mean, I went nuts when I found out that the system 4 years ago, 5 years ago, was able to send a technician on the way message to our client instead of, you know, remembering to call. It's right there. Boom, push a button and it's done. And, you know, we incorporated, before COVID hit, we incorporated offering coffee or picking up a drink for our clients, you know, on the way. We may bring that back, but we're kind of watching how things go now, because, you know, people are still, a lot of scared people out there still, you know. But, you know, Mrs. Jones, we're on the way, or, you know, technician's on the way. We're going to be stopping at a gas station. Would you like a coffee or a water or whatever, right? Or here it's Dunkies. Boston, it's Dunkies. Right?
Dunkies, yeah.
Dunks. So, you know, we're able to provide that level of comfort before we even get on the job site. And it was amazing. People really loved that. So it's
no small thing, right? It's no small thing. Like, just, I'm sure we all have that experience. Like, you can tell which one of your utilities you like better, right? At least where I'm at, like, you're trying to get, you know, fiber optic, you know, internet. They'll give you like a 30-minute heads up. We're going to be there at this time. They're fine. Like, I love that, right? Whereas you're trying to get your gas hooked up, and they're like, it will be sometime within the next 24 hours. You should probably take the entire day off, because you also need to let us in, right? And so just like small things like that, like that wins a customer forever, right? In my experience.
Oh yeah. We have, like, we had before we jumped on with Housecall Pro, we had like eight or 9 5-star reviews on Google, right? And let's see, then we grew to like 20, 30, but, you know, there was a point where in the last couple of years, you know, we really pushed it up to I think it was 100, and, you know, we're at 123 was the last time I checked. There could be more, but solid 5 stars. And I cannot take all the credit for that. I have to give the credit to our systems and processes, which goes back to companies like yours that we've been able to merge with, both of you guys, and other companies. But again, it's all networked through Housecall. And then there's one other we use Clopay marketing as well, but it's kind of separate. But we're working, or rolling, you know, I'm working manually trying to put everything together from one end. But it's like all these little things, but the key ingredients has been primarily on Housecall Pro, knowing them for the last few years, and then what we can do together to serve that client. So it's like it's the right ingredients, and it benefits the client. I mean, that's the only thing I care about at the end of the day is our clients, are they satisfied? to the point where I will never be jobless again. That's it. You know, as long as that's happening, and as long as these systems are coming together like this, I will never have to worry like I did in 2010 again.
No,
So,
that's really good to know. I feel like we put together a cool little checklist here, which kind of incorporates a lot of the things that Josh is talking about. So whether you use Housecall Pro yet, or CompanyCam yet, or not, or both or neither, we're going to do a little poll here in a second. I'm going to show you guys just real quickly here what I want to share right here. Share. There we go. Hit the share button. All right, so you guys should all be able to see this PDF here. If you guys registered to this webinar, we're going to send this checklist to you guys, but it goes all about a lot of those points, statistics, and then also just a free checklist right here. So this is a checklist. A lot of the things, let me zoom in here a little bit. You can kind of get a feel for it, but who to contact, get the right information, send the information about the technician, which technician is coming with a picture of their face, take detailed notes, take the before and after pictures, that Josh has been talking about, attach them to things, put them on good, better, best, give them choices, questions to ask. So this whole PDF here, we'll send it to all of you guys that are attending. If you happen to be watching this as a recording, by the way, guys, if you're seeing this somewhere else on YouTube or wherever you might be checking this out on, you can also just send us an email to CompanyCam@housecallpro.com, and we'll just forward you this PDF too. So if you didn't get a chance to see this one live, go ahead and just send us an email to CompanyCam@housecallpro.com. We'll send you this checklist. But a lot of things Josh has been talking about, they're all in here. He didn't even know about this. Literally, we made this thinking he would be saying something like this, and every single thing that Josh said is on this list. So it was really, really well put together. But we're going to run a poll here because we've got some of you guys here. We would like to know a simple question. Are you using Housecall Pro, a system like Housecall Pro? Are you using CompanyCam or a system like CompanyCam, or neither yet? Because I feel like a lot of the folks that start with us, they're coming from pen and paper, or Google Calendar plus Invoice to Go plus Square plus QuickBooks plus, they're kind of like putting things together, but you don't need to do that, right? So go ahead, and a poll should have popped up, but go ahead and fill that out there.
wow, that's pretty cool.
All right, we're running poll. How do we share results again, Roland?
There should be a button to be able to share results there. You might be able to see results too.
We got one at neither right now. Everyone else is in the family, it looks like. So
that's great. That's awesome. Well, obviously people that are going to be checking this out down the road too, if you're not using either of the platforms, I would suggest go check it out. You can Google Housecall Pro. There's a deal actually. It's in that PDF. So if you want it, just email us, CompanyCam@housecallpro.com. Then I'll know to shoot you this PDF here.
And CompanyCam and Housecall Pro does offer a back and forth discount, I believe, which is 2 months at 50% off if you want to give it a try. I think at least on the CompanyCam side, we offer an initial free trial to field test it, test the integration out, kind of see how that works. So if there is anyone that's looking to give it a field test, I'd encourage it.
Yeah, we tell people it never hurts to look. And you don't know what better looks like unless you take a look at things. Because oftentimes people are like, oh, my system's great. I already got it all dialed in and I'm afraid of change. I don't want to tell my CSR we're switching to something else because they'll leave me, or the technicians will get ticked off or whatever. It's always good to continue to do research. Take a look at your business. How is it evolving? How's the world around you evolving? I think one of the slides that we have queued up here talks about, how our customers communicating with our pros, with you guys. Maybe we'll start and answer or ask that question first of Josh. If you had to pick, what channel do customers typically communicate with you with? Is it through text? Is it through email? Is it through phone calls, or is it in person?
You know,
or how would you allocate it? You could give me percentage wise. You do percentage wise if you want.
I would say it's almost equal for each category. It really is. If I was to give any extra points to anything, it's going to be email.
That's really interesting. I mean, it just goes to show that having a multi-channel approach is super important, and that it's not just phone calls. Because I think a lot of contractors here might be like, oh, well, it's all phone calls. You know, that's the primary thing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And it's not necessarily bad. And I'll tell you that people sometimes value convenience and being able to text and do things asynchronously. That means, you know, I don't have to do it live. I can get text, and, you know, if I'm installing something, I can text back right away. I can have auto saved reply text. Same with emails, canned responses. You can get back quicker. But also you can contact and talk to people at times that are convenient for them, not just for you. Because you have to remember, the homeowners, we see online bookings happen all the time overnight. So folks that are using Housecall Pro, you can use online booking. Those online bookings, we see that more than half of them come after hours. So imagine if you're not there to answer your phone, how much business you're losing by not having these different channels available that are just different than phone calls. So that's a really good point you bring up there, Josh.
Oh yeah. So you got to have so many different avenues now, especially since, you know, we're in this like post-COVID or whatever it is. A lot of people, it has to come back to the comfort of the client. It really does. And I know a lot, you know, hey, and it's also psychology too, you know, like basic psychology. I know for me, went out to a client's house back in June to do a quote with one of the guys I'm training on sales, right? And went out there and I walked into the kitchen and sitting there, and I had this panic attack. And that was never like me before, right? I was very outgoing, you know, I was outgoing, try to, you know, be upbeat, everything. I'm having this panic attack, and I realized that this is the first person's house, another person's house that I've been inside of in over a year. And it was just so surreal. So, you know, people, it's just going to take some time to get back to it. But in the meantime, text, email, you know, it's the comfort level. You got to adapt to it all.
Yeah. Gotta be willing to change.
And as you pointed out earlier, right? Like those reviews matter. Like people like to shop at home, and they rely on those Google reviews, right? To give them at least some of that initial guidance, right? Your website's going to help, right? Your reputation in the neighborhood's going to help, but you know that initial find is often going to be just what your web presence is, right? And that all comes back to these processes that we've been talking about, right? Communicating with your customer, you know, that first time, you know, communicating with them on the job site, doing a good job, obviously, right? And just throughout that whole process, when you go to actually ask for reviews, they're going to remember you. And that's ultimately how you actually get to the reviews that Josh is at. Right? It's not just asking for them. It's that when you actually leave, if they remember you and they remember, hey, I want to do this for Shamrock because they're good people to work with. I've had a great experience. They're in your head, right?
Yeah. So we're going to start. I promised everybody I would ask Josh some hard questions. So here we go. So there's going to be 2 hard questions, and start you off with the first one here. If there's one feature from Housecall Pro that you could not live without, which means if I took it away, if I deleted Housecall Pro, you'd come over here to San Diego and come have some words with me and show me some of the Irish moves, you know, what would that be?
Oh, good Lord. That's really a hard question. I would say, I mean, can I say CompanyCam? I feel like that's no, I mean, honest to God, I know why we're here, and people know why we're here, but honest to God, that's it's become lately, it's become so part of our, you know, ritual within the business that it's working perfectly. I mean, God, that's a really good question.
That's a valid question, because the second question was going to be, what's that one killer feature that CompanyCam has that you just love about it? And if they took it out of CompanyCam, you'd be like, what the hell, guys? What are you thinking? Now I'm going to come to Lincoln, Nebraska.
You don't want to come here.
Housecall Pro.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the best CRM on the planet is the one that is, you know, taking care of so many of your processes, automating so many things that you can't even think of like one particular thing that you love. It just runs the whole shebang, right? So
right. No, it really does. It's two right now. It's two of the biggest parts of our systems right now that we're working with. Actually, it's funny. One of the technicians who I thought would be the last person to be utilizing the system is with the CompanyCam system is actually he's going to be the guy that once we start pulling more people in come the fall, I'm going to have him train the newcomers coming in.
That's awesome.
He loves it. Absolutely loves it.
You know, a lot of people come like, hey, Roland, you know, I'm too old for Housecall Pro. I'm too old to change or whatever. And oftentimes the people that are most resistant to it initially are the ones that end up loving it the most, just because of that transformation. And what's really neat is, you know, everything that we do at Housecall Pro, it's built on, and this is nerd speak for you guys that are watching, but essentially it's built on Material UI. Material UI is a simple way for saying if you've used any of Google's products, they all have a common language. And so when you jump into Housecall Pro, you're like, oh, I already know what that triple bar button does. Oh, I already know what this other button does with the 3 little dots. That means more, right? Like these systems make it really easy to learn. And so if you're using these apps just as a consumer, right, as an individual, maybe Gmail, maybe GCal, you know, any of the Google suite of products, it's going to feel really, really familiar. So, you know, just because you may be a little older, you could also be younger and not want to do something. But really, really, really easy to learn. Give it a shot. I feel like we could just have a couple minutes here. Josh, do you have any parting thoughts for the folks that are watching this? Any words of wisdom? You've come a long way as a business owner from, you know, the story that you shared earlier on in this recording. What kind of words of wisdom do you have here for the folks watching?
I would say, and it came from, and I've heard it 4 or 5 times this week. Came from Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So you got to get those systems in place. Use these guys.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well said. Well said, Josh. Thanks so much for coming on here, chatting with us. It was wonderful to have you on. Obviously, Mike, CompanyCam, this is great to come on your guys' webinar, chat a little bit about systems, fun stuff. For those of you guys that stuck around the whole time, obviously, we're going to be sending out this PDF that I showed you earlier to all of you guys, to the registration emails addresses that you signed up with for this thing. If you happen to be watching this later at some other time, because this is recorded, you can simply email us at companycam@housecallpro.com, and we'll send you that PDF. On that PDF are the links to be able to go check out a demo of CompanyCam and to go check out a demo of Housecall Pro. Those URLs are really easy. They're just flip-flop. So they're just reversed. So if you can remember housecallpro.com/CompanyCam or companycam.com/housecallpro, couldn't be easier. We're going to fire those links off to everyone that registered to attend this webinar. Thanks again, Josh, for coming on. Mike, any closing parting thoughts?
I want to thank both of you guys for showing up. Roland, thanks for essentially emceeing the whole thing. You're a true legend in the webinar game. And Josh, thanks for showing up and giving us so much of your story. You know, it's sometimes you can get trapped in the world of software where contractors, you know, can so easily just become like another contractor in the grand scheme of things. So actually hearing from people, hearing how, you know, software, you know, impacts their life, but also, you know, how they impact other people's lives is always, you know, the reason we're here. And so I really appreciate you sharing your stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Josh.
Take care. Thanks so much.
All right. See you guys later. Take care now.